Hello students, welcome back to your science class. So student, in this chapter student, that is uh, periodic classification of element, we were talking about that how classification of elements has taken place, how elements have been classified, and for that we have seen the different laws which is given by or different pattern or different trends which is given by different scientists and their scientists or chemists and first of all we have seen of that of Dobnaya trials, and here we find out that there are he grouped three elements and according to their increasing atomic mass, and he found that the average atomic mass of the middle one is the atomic number of the middle element is the average atomic mass of the other two. Then we have seen that of Newton's law octaves, and he found that every eighth element, he arranged the elements in the form of increasing atomic mass, and he said that every eighth element shows the property of that first element. Okay, so that was the Newton's law of octaves, and then we came to know a very important table, very important law, and that is Mendeleev's periodic law. Mendeleev, he made a table. He arranged the elements in the increasing atomic mass, and then he said that he seen the properties, and he not only arranged it in the increasing atomic mass but also similar properties, also similar chemical properties. Lot of a thing about the Mendeleev was such that other chemists have to accept it, and he left some gap for some of the element which was not discovered yet, and he had given name to it, and that is Eka. And according to the similarity with the other element of the group, he has given the name Eka aluminium or Eka boron, and then later on when the discovery of the Eka silicon arsenic and the discovery of the germanium, gallium, scandium will take place, then we came to know that okay, the properties of the Eka aluminium is similar with that of the gallium. So his prediction was correct. Then he has also when the noble gases came to us, and then it was not a difficult task to fit the noble gas in the periodic table. So when the Mendeleev periodic table is in such a way that even there is a place for the noble gases also. So because of all these properties, Mendeleev periodic table Mendeleev periodic law was supposed to be the accepted. But yes, there are drawbacks. The first drawback, that there is no position for isotopes. There are some of the problems, like he used to keep the elements in such a way that whose atomic mass is vary with each other in order to keep. He just did that so that the elements must have the similar property, but yes, the atomic mass, it varies with each other. And also there is a problem with the position of the hydrogen. It is not specified that where it must be kept, because it shows the property of both alkali and halogens. So this is about the Mendeleev periodic law. Now we started with the modern periodic table, student. Let me tell you here the modern periodic table. The modern periodic table, the classification of the modern periodic table is basically done on the basis of the atomic number. On the basis of the increasing atomic number, modern periodic table has been classified. Here again groups and periods is there, like we have seen in case of Mendeleev periodic. So almost 18 vertical column is there, student. Vertical column is there, and which is known as groups. Then 7 horizontal rows, that is periods. So 18 vertical column and 7 horizontal rows, that is called as periods. So it was Henry Moseley was there, who actually shows that if we will classify the periodic table, if we will classify the elements on the basis of their increasing atomic number instead of atomic mass, it will be quite easy for us to get the property, and even because of that there is no problem with the isotopes also. So he can easily identify the element instead of instead of giving place to that of the isotopes who is having the different atomic masses. Okay, so periodic table, modern periodic table, it is classified on the basis of the increasing atomic number. Let me write you that what is the modern periodic law. So properties of element are a periodic function of their atomic number. So properties of element are a periodic function of their atomic number. This is what, student, this is the modern periodic law. Okay, now let us see that what are the position of the different element in groups and periods. I hope you have understood about the groups as well as about the periods also. So, position of elements in modern periodic law. Position of element in modern periodic law. So when we look at the group, student, let me take an example of a group like lithium, sodium, potassium. We can take more also. Here its electronic configuration is 2,1. Here its electronic configuration is 2,8,1. Here its electronic configuration is 2,8,8,1. We can take a lot of other example like fluorine also, chlorine also, bromine, iodine, and every time you will find that the outermost shell is having the 7 valence electron in it. here first of all we will try to understand with the alkali metal students. So what do you find here? What did you find here? The thing which is common, that in the electronic configuration it is having the same number of a valence electron, that is 1. Similarly, when you look at any of the group student, any of the group, it means in the from column, from top to bottom. So you will find that it is having the similar valence electron. Okay, so one thing which is common here in case of a group, that it is having the similar valence electron. Okay, while in case of the groups, let us see an example of the groups, columns also. So beryllium, boron, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine, neon. So here it is 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10. Electronic configuration 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27 and 28. This is the electronic configuration. So here the valence electrons are different. So along the group the valence electrons are similar, while when we move in the column, in the periods, then we found that the valence electron keeps on increasing. Valence electron is not similar here. Here the thing that we have to understand, that what happened here and what happened in the column. Let me take the example. Okay, I'm going to take it here with the lithium only. So lithium, sodium and that of the potassium. This is for the group student and this is for the period. Okay, here it is 2,1, it is 2,8,1 and it is 2,8,8,1. Every time you will find that an outermost shell is increasing. How? Here it is K and L only. Here it is K, L and M. And but this time here it is K, L, M and N. So every time an outermost shell is increasing when you move from up to down, when we move in a group. Okay, while when you start moving left to right in a periodic table, that is when you start moving in any of the period, first period, second period, third period, you will find that there is no change in the that of the outermost shell. In the same outermost shell, the number of electrons are increasing. So hence we can say here the nuclear charge is increasing. Nuclear charge is increasing. You can see it is what? It is Kl. This is also Kl. Here also Kl, 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 Kl and Kl. In every of them. That is okay that in the other period it is KLM. That is another thing. But in the same period it is there is no change in the outermost shell. Outermost shell remains the same, and in the outermost cell the number of electrons are only increasing. Okay, so here the number of electrons are increasing. Valence electron is similar because the outermost shell is increasing here, but in this case there is no change in the outermost shell. In the same outermost shell the number of electrons are increasing here. Okay, so this is about that of how the elements, how the outermost shell or the valence electron is distributed in this groups as well as in the periods. Now we will try to find here some of the properties which is really important. I hope you all are very aware that how this electrons are filled. We know that the maximum number of electrons which can be accommodated. There are. I hope you are very aware of how electron distribution take place. The maximum number of electron accommodated by any of the shell, that is explained by 2n square. We know that n is what? N. We can take the orbit. So if we talk about the first orbit, so first orbit can accommodate 2 electrons. Second orbit, it can accommodate 8 electrons. Third orbit, it can accommodate 18 electrons. and fourth orbit it can accommodate 32 electrons. So yes, how the proper distribution in the third and the fourth, that we will going to study in higher classes. But we must know that yes, it will going to accommodate the 18 and 32. Although we know that in the shells, when the electrons start filling, only 8 electrons can be seen in the M shell. But 18 electrons can be accommodated. When we will going to study about the Schurz cells, then it will be very easy for us to understand that. Now let us try to understand the trends which is there in the periodic table. Trends in modern periodic table. Okay, trends in the modern periodic table. So the first one is the valency. See, if we talk about the valency, we know that somehow it is related to the valence electron. So if we see in the group, when we move from up to down in the vertical column, the valency remains the same, and the reason is there is no change in the valence electron. See, if we take an example of the lithium only, or the sodium, or potassium, or even you can take a beryllium, magnesium, calcium. What happened here? Both of them, it is having 2. It is having 2, 8, 2, and it is having 2, 8, 8, 2. Similarly, here also. Likewise, the distribution has been taken place. So since it is having the similar valence electron, that is 1. This one is also having 1. Here it is also having 1. In this one also it is having 2 and 2. So ultimately in a column, in a vertical column, in a group, when we move from up to down, there is no change in the valency, since the number of valence electron is similar, so the valency will remain the same. So here we can include the first point in case of a valency, that as we move in group, since the valence electron is similar, thus valency will also remain same in case of a group. While what happened in case of a period, as we move from left to right. So here beryllium, boron, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine. So here it is 2, 2, here it is 2, 3, here it is 2, 4, then 2, 5, then 2, 6, and then 2, 7. And we already knew about it, that here the number of valence electron is increasing, it is not same. So valency will also not remain same. Okay, so valence, with the help of the valence electron we can find the valency. You know that if it is up to 4, then it will be the exact valency as the valence electron, and while more than a 4 we used to subtract it with the with 8 in order to get the valency. So we can say here in period the valencies varies as the valence electron are different. As the valence electron are different. Okay, so this is about the valency, student. Now afterward let us see another one, and that is atomic size. It is quite important to know about the atomic size. Next one is the atomic size. Let me tell you the definition of the atomic size and then we can move further. So, refers to the radius of an atom. Refers to the radius of an atom. So here it is what? Distance between the center of the nucleus and the outermost shell of an isolated atom. Shell isolated atom. So radius of an atom is nothing but the distance between the nucleus and the outermost shell of the isolated atom. That is the atomic size. What happened when we move from group from up to down in a vertical column? So what happened here? See students, since the continuous shell is increasing, the outermost shell keeps on increasing. What happened? Suppose this is an electron and here one electron is there. Obviously, the nucleus is what? It is positively charged and the electrons which is revolving around it is negatively charged. So there must be a force of attraction existing between the positive and the negatively charged. So nuclear charge used to apply a force on the electrons which is revolving. So here you will find that the shell which is closer to the nucleus will experience more force rather than the shell which is present at the outermost shell. It means which is far away from the nucleus. Similarly, if the shell keeps on increasing, what happens? The nucleus keeps on going farther from that of the nuclear charge, and ultimately the amount of attraction, the amount of force which can be applied on that of the electron by that of the nucleus will keeps on decreasing. Okay, so we can say here that as we go from up to down in a group, since because of the increase in the outermost shell, the nuclear charge keeps on decreasing. So that is why the atomic size keeps on increasing. So, as we move in groups, the most shell is increasing and nuclear charge is decreasing. Thus, atomic size is increasing. Atomic size increases. Okay, so when the outermost shell is increasing, student, and force of attraction is less, obviously the atom will going to increase its size. So as we move from up to down, the atomic size increases. What happened when we move in a period? So here, if we talk about the boron, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine, neon. So here, since the electron is entering into the same outermost shell. Suppose here it is plus charge, K shell, then L shell. So if electrons has fulfilled this K shell, now the electrons keeps on increasing in this outermost shell. So when the electrons are increasing, it means the protons are also increasing along with it, and ultimately the nuclear charge increases. See, here all of them are in the same shell. They are not going far away from the nucleus. And you know that increase in electron means what? It means increase in proton also. Increase in proton means here the atomic number is increasing. Okay, that's why the number of electron and proton both are increasing. So when the proton will increase, it will going to exert more amount of a force of attraction towards the shell. And since the electrons are entering into the same shell, thus the force of attraction can be experienced more. And because of that, they keep when the electrons are increasing, the force of attraction will also get increased, and the nuclear charge increases, and nuclear charge will make them to attract themselves, and when it get attracted, ultimately the size decreases. So we can say here that as we move from left to right, the size keeps on decreasing as the electrons, the number of electrons are entering into the same shell, and due to increase in nuclear charge, force of attraction increases, and ultimately the size decreases. As the electrons entering into the same shell, and thus nuclear charge increases. Okay, so this is the atomic size. Then the next one is the metallic and non-metallic properties. Metallic and non-metallic properties. In case of a metallic, see, periodic table is basically classified into three. One is the metals, the other one is the non-metals, and there are metalloids also in between them. You know that the metals and non-metals, they differ from each other on the basis of their properties. Metalloid used to show both of the property, that is of a metal as well as that of the non-metal here. Now the separation is actually zigzag separation, student, and the elements here, it is boron, germanium, is there, silicon is there, antimony, arsenic, antimony. These all are what? These all are the metalloid, student, which shows both of the property of the metal as well as non-metals. Okay, they have the intermediate properties. Now, when you look at the metals and the non-metals, generally metals are kept at the left side and the non-metals are kept at the right side. When you look at the metal, students, metals are generally electropositive in nature. Why they are electropositive? What happen in case of a metals, here the size keeps on, we know that they are present at the left side, so the size are what? They are having their outermost shell is more, and that is why the electrons are far away from the or electrons are farther from that of the nucleus. Ultimately, less amount of a force of attraction will be exerted on the outermost shell electron, and it will be very easy for the electrons to get removed from the outermost shell. So that is why they can achieve the positivity very easily, as they are able to lose the electron. Their size, atomic size, more. Its atomic size is high, atomic size is more, that's why they are able to lose the electron very easily. And as they are able to lose the electron, they are generally electropositive. What happens in case of a non-metals? They are generally small. It means since they are present at the right side, and you know that when we move from left to right, then the size keeps on decreasing because the number of valence electrons are more in the same shell, and ultimately the nuclear charge is more, and it will apply a force of attraction due to which the size decreases. Okay, so here when the size is less, so it will be not able to lose the electron easily. So they will be trying to gain the electron. One more thing is there, student, and that is it is electronegative. That it is because of the valence electron also. In case of metals, the valence electron is 1 or 2 or 3, so it will try to lose the electron easily rather than to gain the electron. While here it is 5, 6 and 7, so it will be quite easy for the non-metals to accept the electron rather than to lose the electron. That is why one is electropositive and one is electronegative. Okay.